Okay, morning everyone. Welcome to the briefing on Sunday the 28th. Another nice day looking out the window, though I can see some upper cloud, just sort of thin stuff by the looks of it, but it may have an influence on parts of the country today. So high pressure, you can just see it up here, established or just near Iceland actually, and we're just in the northeasterly flow around it. So good air mass, but some evidence of this upper cloud floating around in here, slightly thicker out to the west. And I've been just watching this sort of low pressure over the next couple of days. It's forecast to track up towards us and then suddenly move to the east. Might be worth watching, as it may just destabilize things, the right way over the next couple of days. Pressure's risen a little bit since yesterday, just stabilize things out a little bit. And the TAFs again are fairly short. Farnborough is interesting. It's just popped up because I think there were a later forecast on a Sunday. Wind direction, pretty much what we expect, slightly windier than yesterday, but not much. It was fairly light yesterday, so easterly 050, 060, 6 to 8 knots. That seems to tie up with all the rest of the forecasts I've looked at. And Cab okay, no cloud below 5,000 feet. That's a bit of a surprise because certainly the stuff I'm looking at is showing cumulus, and yes, it may go above 5,000 feet later, but I thought they would have given some cumulus, considering that other places actually are like Gatwick are giving scattered at 2.5 to start off with. Upper winds, easterly pretty much over us. Bit breezy down in the channel, but less so in the middle of the country, so probably 10 knots over us at flying heights, a little bit less further north when you go cross country. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You can start to see we're just sat down under this dot there, and you can see this stuff here is more visible on the infrared satellites. Very high cloud cirrus in places, but fairly thin, and I think it's sort of, there might be an old frontal feature just lurking around in here. The thicker stuff, there's a little bit of rain out to the west of Cornwall. The thicker stuff should just stay in the West Country, and we're just going to see thin bits of cirrus drift across us during the day. Might cut the temperature down a little bit, but not too much. And I don't think it's really going to affect the conditions. So temperature-wise, 22 degrees seems to be what the BBC are forecasting, maybe a bit more. Interestingly, where they're showing it 23, 24 out here, where actually all the other models are showing thicker cirrus. It's a mid-level cloud, which will probably keep the temperature down. But I think 22, 23 round us and into East Anglia looks about right. Similar to yesterday, really. Dew points, this is showing a little bit less than yesterday. They're predicting 8s and 9s. It went down, just below 10 yesterday. I thought it was going to be about 10 to 11. Went down a little bit further than I thought, so it could be down to 9s and 10s certainly by 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon. So pretty good temperature split. If it does go down to 8s, absolutely fantastic. Even better than yesterday. And looking at the soundings, very similar sort of picture. Yesterday, that's sort of 1 o'clock around Lasham, so 20 degrees at a dew point around about 10. It's going to give us about 4,000 feet. Cloud tops going up to about 7 to 8. and a chance of spread out there. A little bit like yesterday, they looked like there was going to be some spread out, but as the afternoon went on, it just sort of melted away in places, and this inversion started to disappear. So by sort of mid to late afternoon, 22, 23 degrees in the dew point down. If the dew point gets down to 8 degrees, then cloud base will be up around the 5,500 to 6,000 foot mark. Certainly pretty good, and cloud tops not much above 7 or 8. So smaller amounts of cloud, and I think that line is starting to fade out, so less chance of spread out. Further north looks a very similar sort of picture. Late afternoon, cloud base could be 6,000 feet. Looking at those temperatures with a dew point of 8, certainly looks pretty reasonable. And a quick look at the actual ascent from Nottingham. I know it's not near us, but it's sort of relevant because it does show the level of inversion. This, if you visualize this line, it'll move across here as the day goes on and the inversion starts to weaken, so less chance of spread out. And playing with these numbers in here, yeah, you're certainly looking at 6,000 or 2,000 meters for cloud base tops, up around 8,000-9,000 feet, maybe a bit more. So yeah, pretty good day really. Top Meteo, it's showing the sort of the blue stuff as the cirrus. This is sort of 10 o'clock local time. Starting to see cumulus. I think, yeah, it might be a bit after 10 o'clock. We start to see some Q. And the cirrus comes and goes during the day. Cumulus beginning to develop, certainly by 1 o'clock, it'll be cumulus up towards Oxford into Cambridgeshire. They are showing spread out here. I think it'll be similar to yesterday. It might be around in places. But certainly cumulus out to the West Country, out to the north, and into Cambridgeshire. So it's looking pretty good, really, over quite a large area. And again, they just show bits of spread out occasionally, but at sort of 5 o'clock, it's showing here that it's going to sort of disappear and soaring's going to stop. So if we look at their thermal prediction for today from sort of 11 o'clock, 11:30, 3,000 feet, and move it on a couple of hours to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're looking at 1,800 meters, so 4.5 towards 5,000 feet. Between here and Oxford, out to the West Country. I'd look at the satellite picture before I headed that way today, and into East Anglia, 1,900 meters. But by the time we get to sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they're showing it disappearing and beginning to pack up, a little bit like it did yesterday. So predicted distance for today from Top Meteo, bit out to the west, but mainly up towards Oxford and into the Cambridgeshire area. Similar sort of picture to yesterday. And I think, although it's forecast to get warmer down in the West Country, I have a feeling the dew points are going to be higher and there's going to be more of that upper cloud lurking around there. As the sun goes up, it will burn it back a little bit. Right, so depth of thermals from SkySight, they're saying by 12:30, around 1,100 meters, and up to the north, a little bit lower once you get towards the Cambridgeshire area. But by the afternoon, by sort of 3 o'clock, 1,600 meters in the Bicester area, 1,500 meters, 4.5 to 5,000 feet towards Granston, and down around us, 4,000 feet. So thermals above ground, reasonably high. Q depths, and you can see lots of sort of orangey colours, so quite well developed cumulus. 4 to 6/8 certainly today. And this is the interesting one, cloud cover. They are showing this stuff here, it's high cloud. This is sort of showing where it is in the afternoon. But I don't think it's going to be thick. This is the above 8,000 meter stuff. Don't particularly think it's going to be thick and stop the conditions working. So yeah, quite a reasonable day. Looks good out to the north, bit to the west, into East Anglia. Should be fine today, and should be good for between 300 and 400k, maybe 500k for 80 meter open class gliders. But a shut off, I think you want to be back by 5 o'clock, realistically. Okay, so airspace wise, lots on the map here, but nothing particularly of note there for us, apart from winch launching at Middle Wallop, which is number 15 down here, and number 24 in here is the Junior Nationals at Keeble, so they'll be flying cross country out of there. Don't know where they're going. I would imagine they'll probably be tasking out to the northeast. The rest is all to do with Salisbury Plain danger area and how it's been lowered up to 30,000 feet, as if that's going to be any use to anybody. Number 30, still got paragliding going on at South Cerney. A couple of fly pasts up here, one at Bletchley. I just didn't note the time, 1500 to 1655. Doesn't say what it is. It could just be an aircraft flying past. And another one at Northampton between 40 and 1540. Gransden have their, it's called the Cloud Rally. It's sort of like a regionals, but not a regionals for those guys. And there's also, just tucked in there, an air display as well, just for fun and giggles. These are fly pasts up here, but not really a lot going on in East Anglia, nothing out towards the west. And people are probably wondering what number 26 is. It's just a military don't overfly that as an event going on, non-overfly area. Nothing of relevance to us, so fairly clear, both to the north and also down to the south. Right, good. Operationally, I think it's going to be runway 09, the exact same setup as yesterday, and grid on the grass north side, next to the trailers, really, between the petrol pump and the first of the private owner hangars. So grid there, going in easterly direction, and I'm sure Mike will launch you when it's time to go. Have fun, folks. Enjoy the day.